I think the scientific question is it human, right? But it's more of a theological question as what value is assigned to being a human, and what is human? What is humanity? What is it to be human? And I think the Christian worldview provides a beautiful, satisfying, and meaningful answer to this question. In fact, I think it's a better answer than any other worldview has to offer. And that starts with a doctrine called the imago Dei. And what that teaches is that every human being who's ever been conceived has been made in the image and likeness of God himself. This was unheard of among ancient cultures. If you read some of the creation myths in ancient cultures, you have the gods creating humans much like a slave race to meet their needs, and they didn't have this value. And then here comes the Hebrew Bible describing humanity as being made in the image and likeness of God. Now, there's another step to that I think is really important. We talked about the Gnostics, how the Gnostics sort of separated the material from the immaterial, with the material being corrupted and evil, and then this immaterial part of us being the value and being the thing that really is assigned meaning. Whereas a fully orbed Christian worldview will teach you that both body and soul make you human. In fact, now there can be times when the body is separated from the soul. But what Christian theology teaches is that for eternity, in the new heavens and the new earth, we will be embodied creatures. We are embodied beings. That is by nature what we are. And so while, yes, there can be moments of time when the body is separated from the soul, like at death, but in the resurrection, those will be united again and we will be embodied. And that is what makes us human. So sometimes I've heard some Christians say, and I think this is wrong. They'll say, I am a soul, I have a body. I think good theology actually would say, I am body and soul. That is what makes me human. And that refutes that Gnostic idea. It solves personhood theory. And it answers the question, when does a human become a person? It's the same thing, at conception. The value is there because that tiny little embryo is made in the image and likeness of God, and that's what gives it value. I don't know of any other worldview that can explain why we all kind of instinctively know that humans are worth more than, say, animals. I mean, I know there are people who think we shouldn't eat meat, and that's an ethical thing, and I respect that. But most people throughout most cultures in the world recognize that there's a difference. But here's the thing. If humans are just the result of some kind of a blind, unguided process of evolution, then there is no justification to say we have any meaning at all, any more than any other living creature. In fact, I think you could actually argue on that view that humans are actually the problem. And yet, if you have a good theology of what humans are, you realize that humans are made in the image and likeness of God, and that's what gives us value. And this is why I think Christians are so passionate, myself included, about the pro-life cause, because abortion is, on our theological position, but also science, it's the greatest human rights violation in the history of the world.